when we look at gold prices, we first look at American economy, okay? Then we need, as I always start with macroeconomics, okay? So from macroeconomic point of view, we have slowing US economy. How do we know that? We know that through data. Job jolts was lower than expected. PMI for services and for manufacturing has fallen, but also what is very important, CPI has fallen, okay? And core CPI. The difference between CPI and core CPI is because core CPI excludes prices of oil and prices of food. So when we look at the US economy, also we had earnings this month, okay? Earnings were better than expected. Why is it important? Because this tells us that US economy is still pretty strong. So in conclusion, we can say that US economy is strong, okay? And that even though we have this correction, I am actually bullish on the stock market indices and bearish on dollar in the short term, okay? So also, what is the current sentiment? Now, when we did macroeconomic analysis, we need to look at sentiment. Sentiment tells us what are the recent news or headlines that affect the market movement. So a recent sentiment was that another bank failed. Actually, did not fail. It will be bought by a bigger bank. Meaning in United States, banks that are in the middle level of their size have actually seen their bank deposits go down. So we have, if we see that, then we can conclude there is fear and doubt in the market, okay? Meaning there is flock to safety. Safety currencies are Swiss franc, usually US dollar, but not in this situation, Japanese yen, and gold. And this is why we have this movement in gold. Also, when we look at the sentiment, we had Powell's speech yesterday. Yesterday, Powell told us that he is remaining hawkish, but this was the last time he raised interest rate. So he will follow the economic data and then decide whether he will continue to raise interest rate. Nobody wants to raise interest rate because raising interest rates usually means slowing down of the economy. That's actually how you fight inflation. You raise interest rate, you slow down the economy because you slow down the investments, you slow down the consumption in the economy, and then you have reduced demand for prices. Reduced demand for products, thus reduced demand for prices. So when having said all that, we are currently trading market sentiment. So what I believe will happen if everything else stays the same, if we don't see another Ukraine-Russian invasion that got even worse, if we don't see China invading Taiwan, I believe we are short-term bullish, but long-term, we are bearish. Now, why would I be bearish? The reason why would I be bearish, and I will switch to shorting gold when I see that US economy is kind of in the bottom area and starting to recover and inflation is falling down. You see? Then if you were a billionaire investor, let's say, why would you have your money then in gold if there is no more fear in the market that US will end up in severe recession? So if we see data or news that tells us that US economy is pretty strong, which I believe and I see through balance of statements from earnings reports from companies, actually gold should in the long term fall down, just like S&P 500 or US 30 or NASDAQ indices should go up. If we see falling US economic data, which we currently have, we will see another push up in gold. We will see another fall in the stock price indices. Also, when we look at the US 30 or the S&P 500, we look at something called forward PE ratio. That is price to earnings ratio. That is what usually investors look. This is a relative value of stock market. And when we shorted S&P 500, when the signal was given in the group, that ended up actually in good profits, unfortunately took us out the other half on break even and went even lower. The situation is that this PE ratio was around 18, which is historical high, not the most high it has ever been, but in a range high. What we need to see is to PE to fall lower, 13, 14, 15, combined with good economic news, and that will push US 30 higher. So we missed yesterday intraday shorts on the US 30, but in the long run, I am looking for swing longs in the US 30, and in the long run, that means I'm looking for shorts on gold, but in the short term, if we see some kind of retracement on gold, I would be a buyer. But this is really, it's not easy to buy gold or sell gold regarding all these news and all these datas, because it's at an all-time high. It's at the same level of COVID crisis. It's at the same level of Russia-Ukraine war. Who would be a buyer? Think about it. Who in the world would continue to buy gold? It's not easy to buy it right now. Maybe the best way to trade gold is intraday trading, like me and Maras do. Actually, I had a great trade today on gold. If you saw in the public group, we actually entered, me and Maras entered at the same time in the opposite direction. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you trade your strategy. And that's how I will trade gold. Intraday, I will trade it with my strategy, but long term, I will look for shorts depending on the news I have.